Hi, Bruce.
Good morning. How are you this morning?
Wonderful. Thanks for joining us. You just told us you are 75, nearly 75 next month. So
Yep,
happy birthday in advance.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I'm dealing successfully with AFib. Little bit of stress right now. My wife is just finishing up her chemotherapy. So then with the COVID shutdown on campus here, I slapped on a bunch of weight. So that's impacting my attitude and my ability to get around, things like that. So
This is what all of us are facing in this pandemic. We are all sort of isolating and trying to keep out of trouble, but with less activity, weight gain has become such a huge challenge through the pandemic. Like it's now going on for 2 years. So do you want to introduce yourself, Joanne?
Yes, I'm Joanne Heisler, and I live in Columbia, and I'm 91. I have no heart problems. In fact, I have no health problems, so I'm chugging along.
Joanne, I think the next 8 hours of every Monday that we meet, you should be the one talking and I should be the one listening.
Oh, I never too old to learn.
Wonderful, Joanne. We are so privileged that you've joined us.
Well, I'm looking forward to it.
What do you think you can gain from this?
Just to get more out of life.
Wonderful, wonderful. I hope to inspire you to do even more fun things moving forward in 2022.
I'm living in my own home, but I'm beginning to look at some places to move into other places to have more companionship.
How did you connect with our Heartful Living?
Pardon?
How did you connect with our group?
Through Osher.
Ah, amazing, amazing. Last year we did this through Osher. Maybe in spring we'll again do something through Osher, but this time we wanted to keep it open to wider audience. That's why we didn't run it through Osher this time.
Well, I've been taking Osher classes almost for 20 years, ever since Osher's been around, before Osher was Osher.
So that is one of the secrets of why you're staying so young. When your mind is learning, it's going to allow us to keep that
I firmly
flexibility.
believe that.
Amazing. Do we have others who want to say hello to our group? People who attended this series in the past, if they think they would like to share in a minute or two how these programs might have helped their health, that would be sort of a good introduction to what people can expect out of these sessions.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Dr. Chakalangan says, oh, I think I'm talking over someone. Hi, this is Willie Fox. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Welcome on board.
Hi, how are you?
Excellent. Thanks for joining us.
Oh, my pleasure. Sorry, we're a few minutes late here. We have these technical problems with our computers, and we're not as tech savvy as perhaps we need to be, but at any rate, I'm here, and I just want to introduce myself and my wife. My wife is Loretta. We came to you approximately a year ago, and I had all types of problems when I first came, heart issues, and I had, in addition to high blood pressure, I had some other stuff going on. And thanks to you and the program, I've since had tremendous improvement. I lost I want to say just over 50 pounds in weight. And I am still on my journey with learning how to eat properly. You put us on, I don't want to say a diet, but you taught me how to control my eating by eating after 9 o'clock in the morning and not eating anything after 7. I had an opportunity to read you had this wonderful book that I've actually read a couple times now. I go through it just to remind myself as to why I am where I am. And that book is it's a helpful reminder for me and my wife to just understand why we do what we do and why we shouldn't do what we do. And I saw you just only a couple months ago, and I am continuing to make progress. My exercise has slowed down just a little bit, but that's my fault. The holidays, being out of town and the holidays takes you off track quite a bit with where you want to be. But we're back home now, and we're trying to start our new year, getting back on track. So we're excited to continue doing what we're doing, and I'm so happy that you have restarted these classes, because it also helps to hear other people and what they're doing and how it's helping them. I'm just glad to be a part of this class this time, and I told you the last time I saw you that I will definitely speak up more often, because I've been pretty quiet. I was really quiet the last class, but I did more listening, and I think the listening helped me more than the speaking part of it. So thank you, and I look forward to hearing more of what you guys are doing this year.
So nice you could join us. The background about Willie's story is amazing. He came in about November of 2020 with the weak heart. Kidneys were not doing great. He had several health issues, and he did not want more procedures. He said other cardiologists had offered him procedures, but he would rather just try medicines because of heart and kidneys not doing great. But then he trusted himself enough to make dramatic changes. He's putting it mildly. For several days of the week, he would have only 1.5 meals a day for several months. And that helped him turn around his health so dramatically, to the point that his story we've written and just recently published, along with 10 other success stories. But he is, I would say, one of the most dramatic examples of how heartful living can transform a life. I taught him my methods, but he taught me the power of the subconscious. So we are both so glad to have journeyed in this together. Glad you're joining us today, Willie.
Thank you.
We can have some more people say hello to us.
Hi, my name is Barbara, and I'm new to this. I just accidentally happened on it. I didn't even know this was international. I live near Boston in the United States, and I'm a military veteran, and I also have AFib and PTSD, and I've had weight issues that I was winning that until COVID started catching up with me. And so I need more, I need a better approach and more support. And I'm the second youngest of the people who said their age. Next month, I will be 74. So
amazing, amazing, Barbara. Did you say you're from Boston, Massachusetts?
Well, I live there now. Yeah, I'm
Okay.
not from there originally, but I live here now.
Because when I came to Missouri in 2006 as a cardiologist, the first couple of weeks, some people will say, oh, I'm from Mexico, I'm from Paris. I thought I'm very famous. People from all over the world are coming to see me, but they all end up being towns around Columbia. So when you said Boston, I was wondering which Boston we are talking about. So happy that you're joining us. And hopefully this will leave you with so many more ideas how we can all get healthier within ourselves. I think Marcia wanted to say hi. She would have to unmute herself. Yes.
Hi, I'm Marcia Dahl, and I live in Columbia. I'm 67. No, I'm 66. I'm going to be 67 this year. And I found out about this program through a friend whose husband had a heart attack. And she explained the program to me that her husband, and she ended up doing too, really kind of changing the whole eating thing and doing some intermittent fasting. And so I tried it after the Osher classes, and I've lost 20 pounds this past year. And I feel so much better. I'm not perfect at it though, but I try to tell everybody about it because I think it's a lifestyle change. It's not a diet. It's just a lifestyle change, and I think it's wonderful. I think it's fabulous. So anyway, I'm here just to learn more.
Thanks so much for inspiring all of us, Marcia. Thank you.
My name is Angela. I'm from Fulton, and I actually heard you on our local KBIA station, and so that's how I got here today. But I have several health issues, of which includes heart failure, obviously, or I wouldn't be here. And I just kind of feel like I'm at that tipping point where I have to do something. So
My name
I'm
is
hopeful
Kim.
that I'll learn. Thank you.
I'm Bonnie Smith. I would like to be that person that says has no medical problems, but I'm a walking mess, to put it honestly. But I'm from Tampa, Florida, and I heard it through the healthy living from the program we have here at the VA for us, and I'm really looking forward to seeing what I can find out through your program.
Welcome aboard, Bonnie. You are very special to us because this is actually a VA program. Since 2015, we've done this as a formal group clinic through Whole Health of the VA. I've always hoped to record it and make it more widely available offline. But until the pandemic started, we just didn't have the tools. Now that we are doing it on Zoom, we are connecting with some of the leading whole health systems within the VA, so that we want to see if we are able to directly impact the health of veterans outside our Missouri region. So I'm hoping in 6 months you'll come back to our program and say, Anand, I'm doing a little better because of this program. That's what my hope is. Thanks so much for joining us from Tampa.
Our leader put it in we have a group called Drive to Thrive. It's a program we go through and learn different stuff. And after we graduate, we meet as a ladies group, and we continue on as a group, and we learn stuff as we go, and we have that support as a group. And so she posted it on her Facebook page, and my friend also is on here someplace, and she told me about it. So we're going to check it out and see how much it can help us.
Excellent. Amazing. Anyone else wishes to say hello to us? I'm not a Siddha trained person. I am inspired by Siddha philosophy, and I've been teaching this for 5 to 10 years. People ask me, why do you say this is Siddha fasting? And I tell them my answers to that. And I've been sort of convinced that probably I'm doing the right thing. Only in the last couple of weeks, I met a true Siddhar, Dr. Anbu Ganapati. He has joined us today. I'm hoping he'll say hello to our group in the next minute or two, because as a cardiologist for the last 20 years, when a person gets heart failure, we have to end up adding 3, 4, 5 new medicines on top of the 15 medicines my patients are taking. But when we practice this powerful self-inquiry based on Siddha, we are able to see that we are not stopping medicines. People find that they can do it on their own or with their doctors and endocrinologists, rheumatologists, and primary care and geriatricians. They are able to come off 80, 90% of their medicine. So that is what is the real transformation that we are hoping to direct people towards. And if Dr. Anbu Ganapati wishes to say hello, that would be good before we go ahead and get started.
Hello, everybody. Doctor, very nice to see you. ரொம்ப மகிழ்ச்சியா இருக்கு. I am listening to the feedback from all your people. They're very nice. They give wonderful feedback. You'd like me to say something about the system? Or
Definitely.
I can talk at the end.
I know you can take 2 hours, but if you can take 1 minute and just tell us what Siddha is so that people will understand. Because so far I've been
Okay.
teaching Siddha, although my training is in cardiology. Now that they can hear it directly from Siddha, that will be nice.
Okay. Siddha system is a traditional practice in the Tamil society, that is in Tamil Nadu, India. The Siddhas are divine people. We can say that they're divine people. They were empowered with so much of cosmic power, and they were able to impart holistic health. They could see human as a reflection of the divine. The divinity is there in everybody. The divinity has to be felt, experienced, and everyone should enjoy it. Once you start enjoying the secret of the divinity in you by various practices, it includes fasting. Fasting is not starvation. They have given very many techniques on fasting. They talk various methods to strengthen the visceral organs by doing special practices called yoga asana. And they also emphasized on practice of breathing practices, which is known today as a pranayama, but in Tamil, it is called Uyir Vali Vasi Yoga. And then the last part of it is meditation. No, they knew very well that the head is first. For any activities of ours, head is first. So there is a proverb in Tamil, it says that Yensan Udambukku Sirase Pradhan. For the body which is 8 times in its size, 1 times of its size, that's the head. The head is important and head is first. They rightly realized it, they understood it. In the head, we know not only all the sense organs which give us communication with the world are accumulated in the head, there are also important endocrine glands, say the pituitary, the hypothalamus, and the pineal gland. All these important glands are there in the top. How to stimulate, activate, and profitably utilize the secretions of those glands for physical and mental health, and how to get healing from the incurable lifestyle-oriented chronic diseases. For these Siddhas are given wonderful methods, and we are practicing it. I am 72 years young man who has been practicing Siddha for the past 60 years. And this traditional system has given me health, happiness, and longevity. I am sure that I am going to live 112 years, 9 months, and 6 days. You are going to see that. I am sure about it because I know Siddhas are given the techniques and methods for healthy, happy, long living. Thank you, doctor. Thank you so much for giving me an opportunity.
Amazing, amazing. Thanks so much. Can you also tell us, you mentioned to me when you gave a breakfast, that 1/2 a minute you can tell us.
I stopped taking breakfast when I became 40. After crossing my 50, I stopped taking my dinner. After crossing 60, I stopped even the midday meal. But what then I eat all the 3 times? I don't eat first 3 times a day. When I feel hungry, I take what much is required to be. I don't take more. I don't give importance to the taste of the food. But all the food that I eat are tasty. Mainly my food is vegetables, fruits, fruit juices without adding the white sugar. The sweetness is there in nature. So now I am happy with a good health by practicing the Vasi Yogam. Vasi Yogam is the breathing technique. Everything you can get in your body through your breathing practice and by meditation. So food is not at all required after certain age. Small piece, small portion of food is enough. You can reverse anything in any damage in your body, whether it is chronic or acute, genetic, whatever it is. All the problems of the body can be reversed at any point of time, provided you have a mental conviction, mental strength. I will do it. I will get it. If you have that determination, there is nothing impossible to human brain. So I am happy. I am the happiest man on earth, I can say, because I enjoy the real happiness that is from within. And our doctor has been giving you the beautiful caption, heartfulness, because it is in the heart. It's not in the head. The head has the brain, but the heart is the place which harnesses all our feelings. Heart is important. Anagata chakra. Siddha said that is the center, Anagata chakra. So meditating on heart and head, these two heads can give you 3 H: health, happiness, and also ability to harness anything. So you can enjoy all the benefits. Dr. Anand, you are fortunate to have him because he has gone deep into the system and able to give you the secrets in an understandable way to the Western people. That's a great. God has given him the opportunity. I pray God to bless him with good health and continue his service for the society with no expectation. That's a greatness in him. God bless you, sir.
Thanks so much for your blessings. So we'll go ahead and get started. I have some slides to show, and that way we'll know what to look out for. Are we able to see my slides?
Yes.
Is it full screen?
No.
It's not full screen yet. Okay.
Yes, now it's with full screen. Oh.
No.
Give me 1 second.
Yeah, Anand, small tip, like if you share, yeah, no.
Are we okay?
Yes.
Super. So today we will start with, who am I? I'm going to request everyone to mute yourself for the next 15-20 minutes. So this is the outline for what we want to cover over the next 8 weeks. So I will present about understanding of the methods in Who Am I Today, and then what can we really hope for, the depth of transformation that is possible. Again, this potential I am learning thanks to so many people who are joining us through these programs and trusting themselves. So that is the real power of the health benefits we can achieve. Your trust is what is the main thing. And then, are we eating right? How to celebrate food at a deeper level? What are the heart healthy exercises which can be applied at every age point and despite heart diseases? And some concepts of flow and thinking or experiencing life beyond the logical mind. And I feel this is where the real connection with heartful living happens. And then we have so many patients and their success stories that is guiding our next level of research and publications. And finally, we'll summarize all of these things in understanding heartful living. So this is what we are planning for the next 8 weeks. My disclosures are High Life Journey, which is our nonprofit website where we hope to place all these recordings and make it available for anyone to view asynchronously when they are not able to join us live. Seeking Hunger is a very small book which should take only an hour to read, but it gives us the basis of self-inquiry or meditation, Siddha's system of living through our relationship with food. So that's what it is. And Cardiac Wellness Institute in Chennai is a program where I'm advisor. In 2015, when we started Heartful Living, my hope was, along with cardiac rehab, we can get 10% heart health improvement. That was enough for me to come on a Friday afternoon, 12 to 1, and sit with 5, 10, 15 veterans, their families, doctors, nurses, whoever was interested in these Siddha mindfulness methods, to see if we can encourage a little better health. But now, 5, 6 years down the road, we are amazed that we are seeing 200, 300% improvement in health. So how do I measure this? I'm going to share some interesting things with you on how we measure it. So in this 8 weeks, we will spend roughly about 30 minutes with some slides, and then question answers and discussions before or after for 15 minutes at least. And then hopefully 10 to 15 minutes at least, we want to spend time in practicing some mindfulness method. And by 10 o'clock, which is 1 hour, we will close the session so that people can return to their work. This is a video my mother shared with me.
No, 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 no. No, 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 no.
I'm guessing many of you are laughing. And that is the real aim of this entire Heartful Living program, to get people to smile, to celebrate life. And the request as a medical doctor, the prescription is 20 smiles every hour. So thanks to my mom who sent me this video. I think my job for today's session is done by watching that video. But there is a inner motive why I shared that video. After watching it, I felt it actually is a beautiful corollary to how our life is. Imagine we are the ones sitting and trying to read a newspaper when somebody is trying to pseudo hit us with a football. The ball is really not hitting us, but our reaction is exactly the same as if the ball was coming directly to our face. That is how the reflex is. This reflex, how do we avoid? or how do we actually cope with these things happening in our life? So this is what I believe at the core of Siddha consciousness. People realized all these thousands of years that things are going to happen, which is not sometimes pleasant, which is sometimes hurting, and against our that is painful in so many ways. And for example, this COVID pandemic has imprisoned us in our own homes. There is not much any individual can do about it. Society is being transformed by a virus. So how do we find the resilience in the mind, in the heart, and in our whole existence to cope with these true or perceived challenges? So that I feel is the main thing that we will be addressing in different ways over the next 8 hours. And anyone wishes to unmute yourself and tell me, Anand, if I know, now that I know what this boy is doing, he's really not hitting the ball at me. At least now this is a solution that I will venture. Anyone wants to unmute yourself and tell us this might work against this perceived threat of the ball coming to our face? Nobody wants to take it up yet. That gives me enough time to just go ahead and finish the slides that I have then. This is a question we asked. Is the world becoming a better place? The answer is definitely yes. Every few years, thanks to science and improvement in technology, human quality of life is only improving. However, heart disease ends up being the biggest threat to human existence, taking 1 in 3 of all lives. Not only in the US, even in the developing world, heart disease ends up being the number one reason for premature death. In the US, $500 billion. It's going to exceed $1 trillion pretty soon. And the important thing is 9 out of 10 heart attacks can still be prevented with just lifestyle. We know several risk factors. These are the lifestyle risk factors: smoking, hypertension, diabetes, all these health problems that result from other metabolic problems. All these things put together, what we are not seeing is the role of mental stress. This can directly cause sudden cardiac death. It can worsen the risk for COVID infections and causes Takotsubo stress cardiomyopathy, which is my research area. But this mental stress, biggest way it affects us is through heart disease. So heart disease is related to diet, exercise, sedentary issues, cortisol, other neuroendocrine stimulants, platelet activation, and atherosclerosis. All these things are aggravated by mental stress, leading to cardiovascular disease. We know that in the COVID world, anxiety, stress, depression, all these things are significantly increasing. And in the last few decades, from 10% of our country, we are now marching towards 50% of the US population exceeding a BMI of 30 and qualifying as clinically meeting obesity criteria. In India, the criteria is not 30. Even if a BMI of 25 is reached, that itself is considered obese, because people from Southeast Asia, their risk for heart disease is even higher. If we rank the various countries in the world, United States unfortunately ranks higher than every other country in the world as far as prevalence of obesity. It's at over 30%. It's going to cross 50% in 2030. What about India? Unfortunately, a poor country which is now trying to develop and take care of providing enough food for our people. India is already, at the same time, while it is coping with poverty, is also having to cope with obesity. In the big cities in India, all the big cities, we are seeing obesity is already at US levels, which is very alarming. So while US is trying to overcome obesity-related chronic disease, India is trying to fight poverty as well as obesity at the same time in 2022. What happens when we doctors prescribe medications? Within a year, or two, most medicines are given up by patients. So our medicines are only effective if people take them. If they are not going to comply, then the benefit is lost. Same thing with any diet in the world. Within a year or two, 95% of those diets are not going to be followed. People revert to what they are comfortable with. Then what am I even trying to accomplish if my diet and medicines are not working? What about exercise? Again, we see dismal compliance. January, people sign up, but through the year, it's hard to sustain exercises. Then how do we succeed when everything in science is saying medicines, diet, exercise, lifestyle itself doesn't work? Where does heartful living come in? It comes in, I believe, because we work at the subconscious level through self-inquiry. That's where I think we are able to succeed, where so far other systems and cultures are finding it so challenging to overcome chronic disease. PTSD is an important thing that we want to address because 10% of women and 4% of men develop PTSD through their lifetime. And it doesn't have to be only people who go to war. Rape victims are dealing with PTSD, Vietnam veterans, and physical assault, shooting, stabbing injury people, and people who go through natural disasters, all of them are at risk for developing PTSD. We know from cardiac rehabilitation, the outcomes can get twice as good if we had stress management to cardiac rehabilitation. In our own research here, we have studied that optimism is so much healthier for heart patients and even children when they have this is our publication where we were able to show on a survey if 20,000 kids marked answers suggesting they had pessimism, 10, 20, 30 years down the road, their chances of having heart risk factors and heart disease was significantly higher. So our risk in a 60-year-old may have started as a risk factor in their 30s and 40s in the form of hypertension or diabetes, but it could have started in their student days as outlook and mindset and pessimism. So how do we change everything? Like Dr. Anbuganapadi Siddha suggested, if we pay attention, if we put our consciousness to the right direction, I really believe we can change things. And now our patients and friends are showing that it is possible over the last 3 years. We have so many publications from our own Heartful Living programs coming out suggesting that it is possible. This is a similar database where we looked at depression, showing it directly. In adolescence, if children are depressed, by young adulthood, their risk of high blood pressure and diabetes and high obesity goes up dramatically. So that is where we want to make a change. But the change is challenging because the world is moving in a different direction. 50% of Americans are single in a most important age of their life. And many people have never married. That is only increasing over the last few decades. And this is not only in the US, it's a global trend. And when we look at religions, unfortunately, we are seeing much less affiliation every decade. And the biggest growth we are seeing in people who are saying they are not affiliated with any religious group. This is happening in Europe, in India, everywhere. But in the US, I have some statistics. What about happiness? If we put the entire world's happiness in a scale of 1 to 10 and average it out, it's at just over 5. So half the world is just barely making it. And if we rank the 20 topmost countries, US is ranking there at 19, whereas Finland, Denmark, Switzerland, they are the happiest countries in the world, scoring close to 8. And US is at close to 7. Unfortunately, India, where Siddha and Buddha and so many deep philosophies have started, we may still find that India ranks in the lowest 20 countries in the world as far as happiness today. All of this we need to work towards as a concerted effort to bring about change. And the change has to happen from within. The reason is all our ancestors had to walk or run 10 miles every day just to get enough food in their stomach, to be protected from the nature, and to survive threat from tigers and lions. So this is how our ancestors' bodies evolved to be able to move so much every day. They didn't have Fitbit, thankfully, 20,000 years ago. But now we have Fitbit telling us how much to walk and how much to run. But our society becoming more busy in our desk job, standard American diet with fast food and extra sugar and high fat content and meat content is now taken up by the world. It's not just American diet, it's taken up by every country in the world. Becoming more sedentary and loneliness, all these things are contributing to chronic diseases. I have so many patients that we can go over, but today for want of time, we'll go over them very briefly. This is a patient where every organ has failed, and despite that, she was able to show significant changes in her consciousness itself. So this we will discuss another time. But for angina, I have an example where this patient took up fasting for 50 days. I want to repeat again and again, that is not what we teach in our Heartful Living clinics. If we can give up one meal a day for a couple of times a week, we'll be fine. If we can give up 2 meals, which means a 24-hour fast once a week or once in 2 weeks, that is all that it takes. So in a week, we have 21 opportunities to eat if we take 3 meals a day. Out of that, if we take out 2 or 3 and keep smiling through that, that is all is Heartful Living. This particular patient's story is going to be published next month. It's been accepted already. And his story is for 50 days, he did not eat anything because he had a religious belief that he could cleanse himself through a prolonged fast. But he was in a very deep state of meditation during this program. And we'll discuss these concepts down the road in the next 8 weeks. Can we not only fix angina, can we change our mindset? Can we build optimism itself? For that, we have an example here, which I think we can share briefly. What do you feel grateful about?
That I wake up every morning.
Excellent. You started out saying that you're an optimistic person.
I've always been optimistic and always figured I had at least the glass half full.
Now, how do you look at your life?
That my glass is always full and overflowing.
So that is the level of confidence people gain through our program. The story with her is, by the time she attended our program, except her mind, many of her organs were already failing. But when I recorded this message a year later, when she's saying she's totally happy, she was actually bedbound because of compression fractures. So in any logical sense, she should not be saying that she is so happy, but that is what she really was. And she wanted to share it with our group. That's why she wished that I record it and use it for inspiring more of our Heartful Living friends. So for depression, what do we have? This is a 73-year-old heart failure patient who has lost 45 pounds within 3 months with only 1 meal a day and continues to stay hungry and reports that feeling 10 years younger just by these simple methods. These may seem tough to start off, but people find that it is easy to embrace it when we do it with the right mindset. That is the important thing. Cardiac arrhythmias is a huge deal for which we try to take care of patients in hospital. This is a 59-year-old patient with atrial fibrillation and hypertension who was able to lose 60 pounds within 3 months through our program and reports feeling 7 years younger. What I'm showing in the background is medical records. So these are not drawings that we do. This is just derived from the actual medical records. And this is what we are now publishing. Because compared to 2018 January, this patient within a year and a half or 2 has lost a lot of weight, which you might see with gastric bypass surgery. Nowhere else you could see such dramatic weight reduction, but this is done holistically. That's the difference. And people who do this the right way, they are so confident that that weight is not going to come back. So that is the, there is no weight cycling here. There is no gastric bypass in this patient. If you look closely, you will find this graph starts in 2006. And he has continued to lose weight. At 65, his weight was not compatible with healthy living, but he continued to lose a lot of weight. And only in the last 2-3 years, he's taken up Heartful Living, and the weight is continuing to go down further. To the point at 80, he's saying, I'm going to look forward to my 100th birthday. So this is the real magic. Cardiorenal syndrome, this we just published, saying when we try to treat heart failure, the kidney starts failing because we have stressing the kidneys to try and get rid of the extra volume. So when the kidney function goes up, it becomes so challenging, the patient gets re-hospitalized. And this happened twice within a few weeks. The last case was 15 years. This one is only 3 weeks. Patient is again and again being admitted. So we started Heartful Living, and the patient is able to gain so much more resilience. And recurrent heart failure. This is, I think, the record that I've seen in the last 20 years of my experience. All the red lines are showing how many times within a 12-month time period this one individual was hospitalized in our own hospital. Here there was a little break because we transferred the patient to St. Louis for a very complex procedure to see if the heart will respond to that. And after that, the patient was readmitted here 3 more times. Now, what is keeping the patient out of the hospital for the last 10 months? Heartful Living. This patient is not mine. Another good friend of mine who's a collaborator in our research, this is his patient. So the only time I interacted was in March of 2021, and I gave some of our material and encouraged patient to understand hunger at a deeper level. And that is what has brought about this change. So we teach exercise awareness and smile experience. We're going to spend a lot of time in all these concepts. So what I want to leave you with is any knowledge we gain is over time, accumulates over generations. And that is why in the name of society, we've become stronger, more materially successful. And this is the reason for all our skills and habits and everything that goes through learning, and we gain it. So this is why society is becoming more able now. But what is this Siddha self-inquiry? In some ways, it is the opposite because we are unlearning. And this self-inquiry cannot be transferred to my son or grandson. I cannot even transfer it to myself tomorrow morning. Tomorrow, if I have to smile, I have to search within and find it as a genuine experience through my own happiness and fulfillment. That is why self-inquiry begins at 0 every morning for everybody when we wake up. So this is the beauty, and this gives us the resilience to embrace whatever new challenges that life may throw at us. So one of the recent people who practiced this is Ramana Maharishi. His only question was Nan Yar, which means who am I? He says inquiry consists in retaining the mind in the self, and silence is the true teaching. So that is what we request people to understand, that the conscious mind is only 10%. At the subconscious level resides 90% of all our potential. So how do we tap the subconscious? Unfortunately, the barrier ends up being our own reasoning and our own logical mind and our thinking self. So how do we overcome the mind to understand the depth of the subconscious? So that is such a beautiful journey that we all can embrace. Our emotions, values, and habits also lie in the subconscious. But the ones that I'm inspiring you to connect with is only 2 things. Connect with your gratitude today. So for the next 1 week, we are not going to practice much mindfulness today, but for half a minute, I'm going to stop here and ask you to close your eyes for half a minute. None of us will talk. Just connect with something that you're truly grateful for today. It can be something you're grateful for in 2022. It can be something you're grateful for the last 10 years. But feel it not only as a logical thought, but as a deeper feeling. And even deeper than feeling, I'm going to request you in the next half a minute to experience that gratitude as the warmth in your heart. In half a minute, I'll continue talking. So close your eyes, feel that gratitude, and we'll move forward. In a couple of minutes, we'll stop the recording. And then I'm going to stay on for another 20, 30 minutes. So if people wish to have question answers, we'll continue to chat today for another 15 minutes at least. If those who want to linger, they can linger. But instead of 10, 15 minutes, today we spent only half a minute in self-inquiry when we practiced or experienced gratitude. But my request to you is take every morning from today until next Monday. When you get up in the morning, that should not be the reason to get out of the bed. Spend half a minute to 1 or 2 minutes feeling, experiencing that gratitude. Let that gratitude move you out of the bed and allow you to smile 20 times every hour, starting now until we meet again next Monday. If we can connect with that gratitude, then you probably would not even need to join us next Monday, because it is so simple yet so profound, and it is at the subconscious level. And I can give you my 100% guarantee that the type of gratitude that we are suggesting is so intuitive, but it is not able to be contained by our logic and our reasoning, whatever our IQ might be. Even if our IQ might be Einstein or 200 or whatever level, this gratitude is so simple and subtle, but it is at the subconscious. So every morning when you connect with it, it is going to give you so much direct resilience. And this creativity, it'll allow you to move in 100 different ways in thinking outside the box, experiencing life in simple, profound ways. So creativity is what we're going to talk about in the next 7 weeks. But gratitude is, I believe, just the core of the subconscious. So when we say what is the heart of this consciousness, we have a simple mnemonic: being humble every moment. It is so easy, but it is so direct. And empathy towards people around us, connecting with our own dreams and goals in the morning. After that gratitude, if you can think what you would love to accomplish today or in the next year, and connect with it honestly. That is your aspiration. And then give the others the benefit of doubt when something doesn't go the best way. Believe that they tried. And these simple things, if we do, the trust will build not only in our job, in our family, in our own friends circle. Equally, or even more importantly, this will build trust in ourselves, that we are genuine and we bring value to our community. So once that trust builds, then life becomes so natural and intuitive. So these are the tools that we will explore a little deeper: meditation, gratitude, connecting with near and dear ones, creativity. 75-year-olds with only one leg and back injury, they can still participate in really profound exercises and sports. Flow, fasting, ikigai, silence, all these things we'll touch upon and inspire a heartful living. So we will stop here. So I will leave you with this question. If in trouble, do we look for solutions within ourselves? And from today onwards, I'm hoping all of us will say the answer is yes.